Hi students, I am Narayana Prakash. Welcome to 5Co Academy online classes, and today I introduce a new topic for you. This structure you can use in simple present tense. The structure is subject plus has or have plus a noun. Subject plus has or have plus a noun, and this structure you can use in simple present tense. And has or have, they are used as auxiliary verbs in English, and these two auxiliary verbs depend on subject, whether it is singular or plural. I mean, if the subject is singular, you can use has after it, and if the subject is plural, you can use have. 90% of the auxiliary verbs are depending on the subject, whether it is singular or plural. Subject is essential while you write a sentence or talk a sentence, and after the subject next comes the auxiliary verb or the main verb, and here has or have you can use as the auxiliary verb, and if the subject is singular you can use has, and if the subject is plural you can use have, plus a noun. Noun means the name of a person, the name of an object. There are several sections in noun: abstract noun, concrete noun, several nouns are there. We are not going to that side. And noun means the name of a person, the name of an object. So I shall give you some examples. She has a job. She has a job. Here she is a singular subject. That's why I used has as an auxiliary verb. And plus a noun. Here a job, that I used as a noun. She has a job. And in spoken English, some people will use she has got a job. She has got a job. But here this got a is meaningless. She has a job, that is correct. But in spoken English, some people would use she has got a job. But got a is meaningless. And I shall give you another example for have. They have a car. They have a car. Here they is plural. That's why I used to have. A car is a noun. They have a car. And I shall give you the spoken English form. They have got a car. They have got a car. They have got a car. And here also this got a is meaningless. It doesn't have any meaning. And you can use this pattern to ask yes or no questions. She has a job. She has got a job. So the yes or no question is, has she got a job? Has she got a job? Has she got a job? That is the yes or no question pattern. Has she got a job? So the answer will be yes, she has got a job. No, she doesn't have a job. She doesn't have a job. And similarly, they have a car. They have a car. And in spoken English model, you can say they have got a car. Yes, have they got a car? Have they got a car? So the answer is yes, they have a car. Or otherwise you can say no, they don't have a car. And that moment you have to use doesn't or don't. If the subject is singular, you can use doesn't have. And if the subject is plural, you can use don't have. Okay, that is the structure. Yes, the simple present tense is over. And remember, I shall speak about simple present tense once more again. Simple present can be used to express a habitual action, universal truth or general fact, and habitual action, universal truth or general fact, and it can also be used to express future action. And the structure is subject plus first form of the verb. And there is one most important condition in simple present tense. If the subject is singular, you want to use s or es or ies along with the main verb. And there are two auxiliary verbs in simple present tense. They are do and does. If the subject is singular, you can use does, and if the subject is plural, you can use do. And there are some other structures. Is, am, are in simple present tense. So the structure is subject plus is or am or are plus a noun. And one more structure which you can use in simple present tense, that is subject plus has or have plus a noun. And this topic is over. Simple present tense is over. Now we can go to another tense, which is the next tense. And simple present tense is very important, very, very important. You want to study a lot from simple present tense. And the second one is present continuous. Present continuous is the second one. Present continuous, that is the second tense, and it has a formula that is subject plus is or am or are plus present participle. Present participle is the ing form of the verb. Okay, present continuous, and it has a formula that is subject plus is or am or are plus present participle. Listen, where you can use is or am or are, that I already explained in the previous class. They are auxiliary verbs. Is, am, are. They are auxiliary verbs. They are primary auxiliary verbs, which I already explained in the previous classes. And once more I shall explain. All these auxiliary verbs are depending on the subject, whether it is singular or plural. I mean, if the subject is singular, you can use is. And if the subject is plural, you can use are. But there is an exception case. If I happened to be the subject of a sentence, surely you want to use I am. You should not use is with the I. Similarly, you should not use are with I. Here there is a condition. If I happened to be the subject of a sentence, surely you should use am after it. So, is, am, are, which I already explained. And after is or am or are, next comes present participle. What is present participle? Present participle is the ing form of a verb. Present participle is the ing form of a verb. Why do we use ing form of a verb in English? While we use ing, it makes the action, a continuity. It makes the action continuous. For example, read. And what is the ing form of read? You just add ing along with the verb read, then it will become reading. The action is continuing. Read, reading. The action is continuing. Talk, T-A-L-K, talk, the verb. And you just add ing with the talk and it will be talking. The action is continuing, the action is progressing, the action is going on. That's why we use ing along with a verb. And now I already explained the structure. I think you won't have any doubt at all. Subject plus is or am or are plus present participle. That is the formula of a present continuous. And next you want to understand in which context you can use this sentence. Every tense has a formula and certain conditions to be used. It has some circumstance to use. And in present continuous, where you can use sentences in present continuous. That is the thing which we want to discuss today. Present continuous. And from the topic itself, you can understand it. Present continuous. Present continuous means the action is continuing in the present. Present continuous, that is the topic. And from the topic itself, you can understand that the action is continuing in the present moment. The action is progressing in the present moment. The action is developing in the present moment. That is called present continuous. Okay, I think you might have understood about present continuous. And it has certain conditions. In present continuous, the sentence is said at the time of the speech. The first condition. In present continuous, the sentence is said at the time of the speech. In present continuous, the sentence is said at the time of the speech. For example, you are talking with someone. You are talking with your friend or somebody else. And that moment, an action is happening. And how can you express that action? You can express that action in present continuous. Your friend is asked a question. Where is your father? Where is your father? And you will say that my father is reading a newspaper. My father is reading a newspaper. So what is happening? While you tell this matter, while you say this matter, the same action is progressing there. The same action is going on. The same action is developing. The same action is continuing. He is reading a newspaper. I mean, the action is going on at the time of the speech. And another example, so I shall give you some examples for present continuous. And I told you the structure is subject plus is, am, are plus present participle. Present participle is the ing form of the verb. And I also explained where you can use is, am or are. And you can easily understand if I give you some examples. One example, my mother is cooking. My mother is cooking. So listen, my mother is the subject. And what sort of subject it is? It is a singular subject, that's why I used is. And cooking is the present participle. Cooking is the ing form of the verb, that is the present participle. My mother is cooking. You know, while we speak this sentence, the action is going on. The action is continuing. You can imagine your mother is in the kitchen and she is very busy and she is cooking food. My mother is cooking. And another example, I am teaching. I am teaching. And you know, a good example is not I am teaching, I am reading a book. 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 What are you doing there? I am reading a book. See, while I tell this matter, the same action is going on there. The action is continuing there. I am reading a book. And another example, they are singing. They are singing. You know, singing is the present participle. Singing is the ing form of the verb. And here I used are as an auxiliary verb with the subject they, because they is a plural subject and my mother is a singular subject, that's why I used is. And I, you can use only am with the I, and they, a plural subject, that's why I used are. You know, that is the first condition. The first condition I told you that, you know, while we speak a sentence, the same action is going on. While we tell a matter, the same action is continuing, the same action is progressing. Another example, a group of boys are waiting outside of our college. A group of boys are waiting outside of our college. You know, while I inform this matter, what is happening? The same action is going on outside. A group of boys are already there waiting for you. You know, that is the first condition. And the second condition is that sometimes the action may not be going on at the time of the speech. You know, the second condition is entirely a contradictory one, entirely an opposite one, which I told earlier. What is the second condition? Sometimes the action may not be going on at the time of the speech. I shall give you some examples, then you can easily understand it. Sometimes the action may not be going on at the time of the speech. For example, we are preparing for the exam. We are preparing for the exam. We are preparing for the exam. You just analyze the sentence. You can understand it. We are preparing for the exam. And are you working all the time? You know, the people would ask, what are you doing? You know, next month, you know, we have an exam and we are preparing for the exam. We are preparing for the exam. It doesn't mean that you are reading the book all the time. Actually, you will read the book. You will study your materials while you get the time. But you will never spend your 24 hours on reading. But you will tell to the people, we are preparing for the exam. So here, we is a plural subject. That's why, you know, we used are, and preparing is the present participle. That is the ing form of the verb. And I shall give you another example. The government is constructing. The government is constructing. The government is constructing a new stadium in the town. A new stadium in the town. The government is constructing a new stadium in the town. You know, a beautiful sentence it is. The government is constructing a new stadium in the town. And while you hear this sentence, you may think that the construction work is going on there. You may think that the construction work is going on there. Plenty of laborers will be there, and some laborers, you know, they are doing the concrete work. You may think so, but actually nothing will be there except the foundation stone put for the proposed building by any ministers. But we say the government is constructing a new stadium in the town. The work is not going there. The work will not be there. But you will say that the government is constructing a new stadium in the town. Do you understand? So the second condition is that sometimes the action may not be going on at the time of the speech. In the first example, the first condition I told you, you know, while we say a matter, the same action is going on. That is the condition, first one. Whereas in the second condition, you know, the action may not be going on at the time of the speech. The action is not happening, but we shall say, you know, this kind of sentences. And one more example, the students are working on a project. 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 And you may think that all the students are working for this project all the time. No. We have to say that the students are working on a project. So, two conditions I told you. The first condition is that in present continuous, the sentence is said at the time of the speech. That is the first condition. And the second condition, which is opposite to the first condition. What is the second condition? Sometimes the action may not be going on at the time of the speech. And you just remember the second example, then you can easily understand it. The government is constructing a new stadium in the town. The government is constructing a new stadium in the town. A good example it is. You may think that, you know, the work is going on there. No, there will not be any work at all. And similarly, you will say that, you know, we are constructing a new house. We are constructing a new house for us. Perhaps, you know, you might have purchased a land for your house, and you might have put the foundation stone for the building, and you know the foundation stone will be there covered with grass. No work will be there, but you will say that, you know, we are constructing a new house in the town. You will say that. And the third condition is that, you know, the third condition is this same tense can express a future action. And you will ask me one doubt. Why, sir, we use a present continuous to express a future action? And simple present tense also can be expressed a future action, that we already studied. And similarly, this present continuous also can be expressed a future action. For example, my brother is coming from Mumbai next week. My brother is coming from Mumbai next week. You know, a future action which we express in present continuous. My brother is coming from Mumbai next week. My brother is the subject is auxiliary verb and coming, that is the ing form, I mean the present participle. Okay, then you can make a yes or no question and WH questions. I already gave you the formula of yes or no questions and WH questions. You can apply and you can ask such questions. Okay, this is the present continuous. And shortly speaking, present continuous has a structure subject plus is, am, are plus present participle. Present participle is the ing form of the verb, and is, am, are, they are auxiliary verbs, and is can be used with a singular subject, are can be used with a plural subject, and am can be used only with the subject I. And you can express only three kinds of actions in it. The first one is, in present continuous, the sentence is said at the time of action. And the second one is, sometimes the action may not be going on at the time of the speech. That is the second condition. And the third one is, this tense is also used to express the future actions. Okay, and present continuous is over. And the third one, which is the third one? Present perfect, that is the third one. Present perfect. Present perfect, you know, a nice tense it is present perfect, and it has a formula, that is subject plus has or have plus past participle. You know what is past participle? That is the ed or en form of the verb. Past participle is the ed or en form of the verb, and you can say that the third form of the verb. And in the first class I told you, a verb has four forms: present form, past form, and past participle, and the fourth form is present participle. Yes, what is past participle? Past participle is the ed or en form of the verb. The ed or en form of the verb, that is past participle. For example, walk. What will be the past participle of walk? Walked. And speak. The past participle of speak is spoken, not speaked. And show, show, show. What is the past participle of show? Shone, not showed. Show, showed, and shone. And see, another verb see. Past form of see is saw, and past participle is seen, S-E-E-N. You know, you want to study the four types of verbs: present form, past participle, and present participle. Past participle I told you, ed or en form of the verb. And the structure is subject plus has or have plus past participle. Okay, where you can use has or have? They are auxiliary verbs. Has or have, they are auxiliary verbs. And I have already explained in the previous class. I mean, subject is singular, you can use has, and if the subject is plural, you can use have. That is the condition. Now you got the idea of this structure: subject plus has or have plus past participle. And my friends, you want to know in which circumstance you can apply this tense. You know, still many people are making lot of mistakes while they write sentences in present perfect. Even teachers also, they unknowingly make several mistakes while they write sentences in present perfect. In which context you can apply sentences in present perfect? And the condition is that in present perfect, the action starts at one point of the past and it is already completed in that point only. In present perfect, you know, the action already completed at one point of the past, but the complete importance of that action is coming to the present, and you will be confused. You know, I will show you a diagram so you can easily understand it. You know, the diagram of tense. This is the diagram of tense, you know, present one, first one present and second one past and third one future. Okay, listen. Present, past and future. You know, present tense is the most important one. And you are listening my class now. You know, that time is your present. And before listening my class, you know, you were somewhere else. You were doing something else. That will be your past. Second one. And after completing my class, after listening my class, you have to do some other jobs. That will be your future. I mean, present tense closely connected with our past and future. So, come to the point, when we can use sentences in present perfect? That is the question. When we can use sentences in present perfect? In present perfect, you know, the action is already completed. The action is already completed or perfected at one point of the past. The action is already completed at one point of the past. Perfected, present perfect. Perfected means completed. The action is already completed or perfected at one point of the past. But the complete importance of that action is shifted into the present. The complete importance of that action, is shifted into the present. Very simple it is. You understand? An action which is already completed at one point of the past, and the importance of that action is shifted into the present. And remember, in this tense, you are not supposed to use the time of action. You are not supposed to use the time of action. For example, I have read this book 2 years back. I have read this book 2 years back. You can say that I have read this book. I have read this book. Okay? I have read this book. Imagine, I read a book. And in the classroom, you know, I showed the book before you and I told you that I have read this book. What does it mean, I have read this book? You know that reading, the process of reading is already completed at one point of the past. The process of reading of that book is already completed at one point of the past. But the complete importance of that action is shifted into the present, is coming to the present. And similarly, I say that I have seen this film. I have seen this film. Another example, a simple example it is, I have seen this film. You know, just analyze this sentence, I have seen this film. What happened? I have seen this film. You know, yesterday I went to the theater with my friends and I bought tickets and we saw the movie. And now standing before you, I say that I have seen this movie. I have seen this movie. So what does it mean? The action is already completed at one point of the past, but the complete importance of that action, the complete significance of that action is shifted into the present. You understand? You know, this is called the present perfect. An action which is already completed at one point of the past, but what is happening? The complete importance of that action is coming to the present. But there is one condition. In this tense, you are not supposed to use the time of action. For example, I have seen this film yesterday. I have seen this film yesterday. You know, some students will say like that. I have seen this film yesterday. A great mistake it is. Why? Because you know, the time of action yesterday is used in that sentence. So the sentence is wrong. And similarly, I have read this book 2 years back. I have read this book 2 years back. The time of action is mentioned 2 years back. That is the time of action. I mentioned the time of action 2 years back. So the sentence is wrong. So remember very well, present perfect, while you write sentences in present perfect, the condition is that the action which is already completed or perfected at one point of the past, but what is happening? The complete importance of that action is shifted into the present, is coming to the present. But there is one important condition. The condition is that you are not supposed to use the time of action in it. Okay. But sometimes you can use the time of action. You know, you should be very sharp. Sometimes you can use the time of action. I shall give you one example. I have known him. I have known him for 10 years. You know, see the speciality of this sentence. I have known him for 10 years. I have known him for 10 years. So, just analyze the sentence. The action which starts at one point of the past, still it continues to the present. The action which starts at one point of the past, still the same action continues through the present. So, such circumstances you can use this type of sentences. I have known him for 10 years. Okay, this is the most important thing. Present perfect. While you write sentences in present perfect, you should be very careful. You should not use the time of action in it. And when you can use it, in which context you can use present perfect? An action which is already completed at one point of the past, and the entire significance of that action is coming to the present. Okay, then you can use present perfect. You are not supposed to use the time of action. You know, some words are there: yesterday, last week, last month, 2 years back, in 1998. You know, these words are mentioning the time of action. Yesterday, last week, etc., last month, last year, 2 years back, in 1998, and these kinds of words which refer times. So, you are not supposed to use this sort of times in present perfect. Okay? And the fourth one, present perfect continuous. Fourth one, present perfect continuous. Okay, it has got a structure. This is the last one. in the present category, present perfect continuous, subject plus has or have plus been plus present participle. Subject plus has or have plus been plus present participle. Okay, present participle is the ing form of the verb. Just now I explained, and I also explained the application of has or have. Subject plus has or have plus been plus present participle. And I shall show you the diagram, then you can easily understand it. Present one, and second one past, and the third one future. Present, past and future. Present perfect continuous. You know, in which context you can use present perfect continuous? Very simple it is. In present perfect continuous, the action starts at one point of the past. See the action. In present perfect continuous, the action starts at one point of the past, and the action continues. The action continues. The action continues and goes through the present. See, the action goes through the present. Still, the action is continuing. Very simple it is. The action starts at one point of the past and the action continues through the present. Still the action is going on. And you will ask, sir, what is the difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous? What is the difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous? In present perfect, what happened? The action is already completed at one point of the past. The action is already completed at one point of the past. But the importance, only importance, the importance of that action is coming to the present. Whereas in present perfect continuous, what happened? The action starts at one point of the past and continues through the present. You know, the action is still continuing, the action is progressing, the action is going on. That is called present perfect continuous. You know, I told you the structure subject plus has or have plus been plus present participle. And apart from this structure, you have to use since or for. You know, you may think that this structure will be enough for you to write sentences in present perfect continuous. No, you need to use since or for if you want to write sentences in present perfect continuous. So what is the difference between since or for? Okay, the difference between since or for. Since shows a point in time and for shows a long period of time. And you want to record this condition in your memory, the difference between since or for. And I shall give you some examples. Since 1985, you know, you can write any years, any year you can write, and just before mentioning the year, you want to use a since. And another example, since January. And you will write January, not January, January, January. Any month, since January, since February, since March, etc. And since Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. And while you mention the time, since 10 o'clock, since 10 o'clock, and similarly since last week. Listen, Week. A week is a long period of time. A week is a long period of time. So surely you want to say for a week. For a week. Similarly, a month. A month is a long period of time. So surely you want to say that for a month. But you specially mentioning a particular week or particular month by using last. So that moment you want to write since last week or since last month. Do you understand? While you write week, surely you want to use for a week. Similarly, a month, for a month. So while you specially mention a particular week or particular month by the expression last, so that moment you want to write last week or last month. I think you got the idea. Okay, then we can come to the another section for, where you can use the for. Example, for an hour. For an hour. And some students will write since an hour, thinking that an hour is a point in time. No, for an hour. And similarly, half an hour. Half an hour. And there also you can use a for half an hour, not since half an hour. And for 2 years or for a year. You will say that a year is a point in time. No, a year is not a point in time. A year is a long period of time. So you want to use the for before it, for a year, and for a month, and another one for a week. And if you use the last before it, you can say that since last week or since last month. And if you use month or week only, you can say that for a week, for a month. So these are the examples of for the application of since or for. And there is one thing I noticed in the PSC examination, childhood, since childhood. Because you mention a particular time. And if you mention a particular time, you want to use the since before it. Okay, now you got the structure and the application of a since or for, and the context in which you can use the sentences in present perfect continuous. I told you the context, the action which starts at one point in the past and continues through the present. And I shall give you some examples, then you can easily understand it. One example, I have been studying in this college. I have been studying in this college. For 2 years. I have been studying in this college for 2 years. You just analyze this sentence. I have been studying in this college for 2 years. You understand the meaning of the sentence? I have been studying in this college for 2 years. And before 2 years, one moment you came with your parents and joined in this college. I mean the action which started at one point in the past. 2 years before, one day you came with your parents to the college and you joined here, and still the action is continuing. The action which started at one point in the past is still progressing, is still continuing, and it is going through the present. I have been studying in this college for 2 years. Why I used for here? Because 2 years is a long period of time. 2 years is a long period of time, that's why I used for. And I shall write another example. I have been waiting for her. I have been waiting for her since 10 o'clock. I have been waiting for her since 10 o'clock. And in this sentence, I used both for and since. You know, I used both since and for in this one sentence. I have been waiting for her since 10 o'clock. And here I used for as a preposition. You know, you want to study one topic, a preposition. You know, you will be confused. And even the great scholars of English, they have a confusion in the field of preposition. And recently, I read a book on Mahatma Gandhi, and in which, you know, the writer says that this Mahatma Gandhi is a great expert in using preposition than the native speakers of English. You know, even the native speakers of English feel confusion while they apply preposition. And he is an expert. Our Gandhiji is an expert to use a preposition. And here in this sentence, you know, we used both for and since, and for here used as a preposition, and since, you know, which shows a point in time. So these are the two examples, and I hope you understood very well about present perfect continuous. And I shall summarize once more. In present perfect continuous, you know, the action starts at one point of the past and continues through the present. And it has got a structure: subject plus has or have plus been plus present participle. Present participle is the ing form of the verb. And you know, apart from this structure, you have to use since or for. And what is the difference between since or for? Since shows a point in time and for shows a long period of time. That is the difference between the two. And you want to study in detail all these examples, the use of since, the examples for since, and the examples for. You know, you will never be confused if you study these details. I shall summarize everything which I took today. You know, today first I took one structure, one formula: subject plus has or have plus a noun. And you can use that structure in simple present tense. And next I took present continuous. Present continuous, you know, it has got a formula: subject plus is, am, are plus ing, that is present participle. And you can use three types of actions in it. The first one is, in present continuous, the sentence is said at the time of action. And the second condition is that in present continuous, sometimes the action may not be happening at the time of the speech. And the third condition is that you can express future actions also. And next, present perfect. What is the structure of a present perfect? Subject plus has or have plus past participle. Past participle is the ed or en form of the verb. And in which context you can apply it? I mean, in present perfect, the action is already completed or perfected at one point in the past. And the complete importance of that action is shifted into the present. But there is one condition, the most important condition, you are not supposed to use the time of the action in it. Don't forget, you are not supposed to use the time of action in it. And next comes, present perfect continuous. In present perfect continuous, the action starts at one point of the past and continues through the present. And this is the structure: subject plus has or have plus been plus present participle, ing. And apart from this structure, you want to use since or for. Since shows a point in time and for shows a long period of time. And I tell you once more, this tense is supposed to be the foundation of our English language. And if you study the rules and regulation of these tenses very well, you can use English without making any mistake. While you write any sentences, you will never feel any confusion. So that's why I advise you study all the tenses very well. Then you can use it freely without having any fear while you use English. Okay, thank you very much for listening my class.
നവംബർ മാസത്തിൽ ഫൈക്കോ അക്കാദമി ആരംഭിക്കാൻ പോകുന്ന പുതിയ ബാച്ചിലേക്കുള്ള അഡ്മിഷൻ ആരംഭിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങളുടെ സുഹൃത്തുക്കളെയും മറ്റ് നിങ്ങളുടെ പരിചയക്കാരെയും ഞങ്ങളുടെ ക്ലാസ്സുകളുടെ പ്രാധാന്യത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞ് മനസ്സിലാക്കി അവരെ കൂടി ഇതിൻ്റെ ഫൈക്കോ അക്കാദമിയുടെ ഒരു ഭാഗമാക്കാൻ ഞങ്ങൾ നിർദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നു. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
ഫൈക്കോ അക്കാദമി, ഫസ്റ്റ് ഫ്ലോർ, PV കോംപ്ലക്സ്, സിവിൽ ലൈൻ റോഡ്, വെസ്റ്റ് ഫോർട്ട്, തൃശൂർ. ഫോൺ 9946 999 460, 9946 999 461.